Attention graduates and guests. The 2025 McCombs BBA Commencement Ceremony will begin in 5 minutes. Please find your seats.
Dean Mills, the convocation has gathered.
Good morning. I am Lillian Mills, Dean of the McCombs School of Business, and it is my honor and pleasure to welcome the Spring 2025 graduating class and all their family and friends from around the globe to this commencement ceremony. And I would also like to recognize the McCombs faculty and staff who helped the graduates reach today's milestone. Graduates, this is a momentous day as you begin the start of your incredible journey beyond the 40 acres. You graduate from one of the best universities in one of the most exciting cities in the country. As leaders across the globe look to Austin for inspiration, they're looking to our McCombs grads to tell the world what's next, and I know you are up to the task. When you first arrived at UT, you came with hopes of earning a first-rate business education and launching a bright future. And throughout this journey, you've demonstrated dedication, initiative, and an entrepreneurial spirit. You've displayed the noble characteristics of curiosity, compassion, and leadership, and maintained the highest ethical standards. We are very proud of your accomplishment as you carry forth our bold mission: what starts here changes the world. I would like to introduce our commencement marshals: Katie Gray, Professor of Instruction in the Department of Information Risk and Operations Management, as well as Chris Burke, Assistant Professor of Instruction, also in the Department of Information Risk and Operations Management. Thank you for leading the procession this morning. This year's student speaker is Rajveer Kendra, and Rajveer Singh Kendra is a senior from Cypress, Texas, graduating with a BBA in Management Information Systems. And I'm so proud he has so many family members here today for his support. His journey to McCombs began years ago as a nationally ranked debater competing at UT, where he instantly fell in love with the university's energy. During his tenure here, Rajveer won multiple pitch and case competitions where he gained thousands of dollars in scholarship funds and conducted research with PhD students on the cybersecurity ramifications of adversarial attacks against machine learning systems, and was selected by the US State Department to proliferate American soft power to Hungarian youth during his BBA study abroad program. He is also a proud McCombs Success Scholar, University Leadership Network member, and McCombs Leadership Program alum. On the rest of the 40 acres, Rajveer was the Judicial Board Chairman of the Delta Upsilon Fraternity Organization, team lead for Product Prodigy Entrepreneurship Program, and a founding officer of the Austin Bodybuilding Club. Outside of UT, Rajveer is a state-level competitive bodybuilder, an avid hiker, a political activist, recipient of the Gold President's Volunteer Service Award for his work at the Michael DeBakey Veterans Hospital, and an internationally renowned public speaker. Rajveer credits his parents, who supported him completely, and his sister, a proud McCombs alumna, for his relentless drive. After graduation, Rajveer will join Visa Corporation full-time in their leadership rotational program right here in Austin, tackling fintech challenges in all their departments. Your 2025 student speaker, Rajveer Kendra.
Take the bull by the horns. A phrase that for us, as Longhorns, is less a metaphor and more a way of life. In my mother tongue, Punjabi, the word for journey is called suffer, a word that in English is synonymous with struggle. And what a suffer we've had. Arriving onto a campus of 50,000 students, daunting. Surviving J2's food, even more daunting. Sharing a dorm bathroom with 20 peers, genuinely terrifying. Yet here we are, reigning victorious. We didn't just face challenges. We dealt with them boldly, decisively, with unmatched intensity and fervor. When we first received our acceptance letters, we knew our hard work had paid off, but had no idea how transformative these years would be. We gained access to world-class faculty whose research shapes global markets, career services that turned aspirations into offers, and an alumni network that opens doors from Wall Street to Silicon Valley. Yet, beyond the resources and rankings, we discovered something exceptionally valuable. It's as cliche as it is true, but here we found our people. From finding a club that happened to be tabling on Speedway, to that 8 a.m. that we dragged ourselves into, in organizations that felt like families, in unforgettable moments studying here or abroad, we cultivated friendships that transcend semesters. What initially felt like an overwhelming sea of 50,000 students revealed itself to be exactly what we needed. A remarkable composite of innovative future leaders who inspired each other to grow. A melting pot of personalities, backgrounds, and hobbies where we each found our places of belonging. Like a mosaic, the McCombs community is a masterpiece of individual stories, ambitions, and triumphs. Each tile, a student who dared to reimagine the ordinary, adding their own piece to this collective art. Similarly, the diploma we're about to receive is like a master key. It unlocks doors we thought were once bolted shut. Boardrooms, labs, startups, Fortune 500 companies. Are you bold enough to use this key? Behind every door lies a new bull to wrestle. A career pivot that terrifies you. A societal injustice that demands your voice. A dream that refuses to fit neatly into some 5-year plan. This key is not a free pass. It is an opportunity to walk into arenas where courage is the only currency that matters. For me, that bravery was forged by Professor Russ Finney, who changed the course of my life, turning me from "I'll never ever code" into "man, technology is exhilarating." Clear favoritism by the MIS department. For others, it was study sessions that ended up in the middle of the night, or classes so rigorous they turned study groups into lifelines, like Killer K was for all my MIS people. No bias, I promise. But regardless of what major we chose, the core curriculum gifted us a diverse network of geniuses that we can rely on with absolute certainty. Just take a look around you. As we bask in this joyous moment, let us recognize that as we step off of this stage and into the next stages of our life, this degree, this key isn't just about opening doors for ourselves, it's about holding them open for others. From making sure you're on McCombs Connect so that the next classes have someone they can reach out to, or staying in touch with personally instrumental organizations, like I plan to with the McCombs Success Scholars. Love y'all. There are limitless methods of ensuring that incoming McCombs students are treated as well as we were. That effort alone is one of the most important reasons for organizations like this to exist. It is not our obligation. It is our privilege to guarantee the next class doesn't just walk through doors, they kick them down. That's why what starts here changes the world. Not because of coincidence or location or circumstance, but because of our love for our community and its seemingly immeasurable drive to alter the fabric of reality in perceptibly impossible ways. Yes, we are in a tumultuous moment in history. Political fractures are deepening, and AI is rewiring humanity as we know it. The future feels like a bull we have yet to really tame. However, our hope is solidified in one another. McCombs has shown us that we don't wait for storms to pass. No, we love to dance in the rain. So congratulations, class of 2025. We rose to the occasion on these 40 acres, and we will continue to do so far, far beyond them. From here in Texas to San Francisco, New York, Chicago, and Washington, or Shanghai, Delhi, London, and Budapest. No matter where we are on this planet, your personal history, your religious ideology, your socioeconomic status, your race or creed, from this moment onward, we all share one common denominator that gives us an instant connection, regardless of previous interaction. We are Longhorns! Our suffers, our journeys may be different, but our core values and experiences here on this campus are fundamentally ubiquitous. As I look around, I see a mosaic vibrant in resilience, tenacity, and grace, with keys to infinite possibility. Today, we honor not just our individual accomplishment, but the interconnected tapestry of brilliance we've all meticulously crafted together, tile by tile. Let this commencement be not only a celebration, but a solemn vow that every single one of us will continue to lift each other up while taking every obstacle and life itself by its horns. To every distinguished guest, honorable alumni, and esteemed faculty member, thank you and bear witness to your next generation of McCombs School of Business graduates. Hook 'em forever.
Thank you, Rajveer. Oh my gosh, thank you. Before introducing our keynote speaker, I do want to take a moment to recognize outstanding leaders who have shaped the undergraduate program and enhanced their impact. Ty Henderson, Charles Enriquez, Arthur Allert, Andres Almazan, thank you for all you do on behalf of the students, families, and your colleagues. And the entire BBA program office staff is here today to lead this effort. It's a big team effort, and we appreciate your talent that goes into running both the undergraduate program and the commencement ceremony, so thank you. Our commencement speaker today is a visionary investment strategist whose leadership has transformed portfolio management on a global scale. I'm honored to introduce my friend David Drewley, the Chief Executive Officer of Cambridge Associates LLC, a global investment firm with assets under advisement exceeding $600 billion across 13 offices worldwide. David is a proud double Longhorn, having earned a BBA in finance and an MBA, respectively in '88 and 2003. He was a Rising Star alumni recipient in 2018. And as CEO of Cambridge, David leads 1,400 professionals who build custom investment portfolios that achieve financial objectives and drive positive change across the globe. You'll learn more about how that is important to David in a few moments. David is known in the investment industry as a strategic, competitive, and humble leader, unique in his ability to make meaningful connections with people from all walks of life, from prime ministers to students. And with more than 30 years of investment experience and as a CFA charter holder, David's innovative portfolio management frameworks have fundamentally reshaped how clients approach investing. Prior to joining Cambridge Associates in 2003, he founded and operated Drewry Investment Management for 9 years. His commitment extends beyond his business excellence through his service to the McCombs School of Business Dean's Advisory Council and the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. He and his wife, Missy, split their time between Dallas and Boston. They've been married more than 30 years, and I love that I know Missy so well as well. We're delighted to welcome David Drewry back to the 40 Acres to share his insights and wisdom with our graduates today. Please welcome David Drewry.
First thing I have to say is, wow, what's going on here today is so exciting and inspiring. The second thing I have to say is, Rajiv, that was awesome. That was really awesome. So, class of 2025, I'm honored to be here with you today celebrating your achievements and your future with your family, your friends, your professors, and your McCombs community. Dean Mills, Dean Burris, Dean Henderson, Dean Allert, and Dean Enriquez, thank you for inviting me to speak today. I'm a two-time UT graduate. I have to say I was also a fairly dedicated basketball player throughout my childhood growing up in North Texas. As a kid, I dreamed of being on stage in the University of Texas basketball arena. It took me 2 decades and decades longer, and I'm in a different role, but I finally made it to the stage. So thank you all for the invitation. While I appreciate the kind introduction from Dean Mills, the next 20 minutes are not about me, they're about you. And I'll share a few personal experiences today in the hope that they will energize you for what comes next after this weekend ends, you pack up the boxes, and you enjoy your last burrito at Cabo Bob's. I'm deeply excited about what's happening here today, and I'm even more excited to witness the impact you will have on communities in the world in the years ahead after you leave this special place. You have much to be proud of and an incredible opportunity in front of you, and I'm pleased to be a small part of your story. Today, I'm going to focus on 4 key themes that I hope will give you some things to think about as you go through today's joyful ceremonies. I also hope that you might reflect on them as you face the multitude of decisions life will present to you in the decades ahead. Decisions like what job to pursue, how to prioritize your time and talents, and how to navigate moments of stress and anxiety. These decisions may seem small on their own, but taken together, those questions and your answers to them will set the course of your life. So they deserve careful consideration, and they deserve purposeful action. These 4 lessons have anchored all of my choices and actions as an adult, and they've served me well. The first theme, don't worry about the destination. Instead, just take the next step and enjoy the ride. You are some of the best and brightest young business leaders in the world, and you most certainly did not get here by accident. I'm confident that each of you has been goal-oriented your entire lives. While being focused on the destination has served you well so far, I suggest that from here on out, you try to worry less about the ultimate destination and instead more about enjoying the ride. When leaders achieve great success in their industries, filling the top jobs, and taking on the largest responsibilities, it can seem as if their every step up to that point was calculated and planned. I don't think that's usually the case, and it certainly wasn't for me. When I was a student at McCombs, I literally had no knowledge of the investment industry in which I spent my entire career, nor had I ever heard of the company I now run, despite the fact that it was 2 decades old at the time. My educational path, starting with an elite prep school and culminating in a McCombs education, was unanticipated for me. I had no expectations that I could be the CEO of anything substantial or an industry leader of any kind. My one goal at the time was to get a job after graduation in the finance or investment industry, preferably the latter, so that I could earn a good living and take the first step in my career. At the time I finished my undergraduate degree at Texas B School, which is now called McCombs, Texas was in a recession and much of the rest of the US was seeing slowing economic growth. There were not a lot of job offers. I felt pretty proud and lucky that I had 3 opportunities to choose from. The first was a finance job at a large, well-known industrial company. The second was a role at a premier Texas bank. And the third was at an entry-level job at a small regional stock brokerage firm. Now, I decided to go work at the small regional stock brokerage firm as that's what most interested me. My friends and my family thought I was crazy because the places I turned down were much more prestigious than the company I went to work for. But I had a hunch it was the right move, and that choice ultimately launched my career in a business I'm passionate about and has treated me very well. The lesson I learned is that moving forward and taking the next right step is more important than perfect planning. Do something you're excited about and that you think you could be good at, and don't worry about the voices telling you what you should do or feel tied to what you think is an obvious path to the ultimate destination. Taking the next right step is the most important thing. I would also say, importantly, you will spend lots of time building your career and your life. It will no doubt be intense at times. And I have to personally tell you, it will be much more rewarding if you're focused on the present and don't over-focus on the destination. The second thing I'd like to leave you with today is, of course, you should pursue a career where the work itself interests you, but also one where the impact you can have is energizing and exciting. The investment industry in which I work and the jobs I've had are inherently interesting to me. I love investing. I love trying to beat the market. I've started a business and raised capital for that business to put food on the table. I've lived through 4 capital market crashes, putting in 20-hour days for months on end to deliver great partnership for clients. I can't say that every minute of my career has been fun, as there's been many tough times, but I can say I find the work to be unbelievably interesting and well aligned with my competitive instinct and analytical brain. I've been intellectually and competitively engaged, and thus I've been happy. But what's truly made my career fulfilling, what's made me energized and inspired me each day is the fact I work with great people and great clients, and together we're making positive differences in the world. I grew up in North Texas in a family with limited resources. The local school system was not very good. As I neared middle school, my parents were frustrated with the educational opportunities available to me, but they didn't have the financial resources to send me elsewhere. In a true stroke of luck, at the same time that I was approaching middle school, a local prep school called Trinity Valley had just established a financial aid program and determined to create opportunity for a few kids from less privileged backgrounds to enroll at the school. A man I remember well named Ray Johnson was not only the admissions director at Trinity Valley at the time, but he also happened to coach basketball at the local YMCA where I played in the basketball league. Impressed with my competitive nature, he thought I would be a good bet for this new program at Trinity Valley, and he extended an offer to my family for me to attend the school. The financial aid package enabled me to receive a quality education that would have otherwise been completely unobtainable to me. My time at Trinity Valley Prep School was one of discovery and enlightenment. My peers were from wealthy backgrounds, a lifestyle totally unfamiliar to me. Perhaps not surprisingly, I found kinship with the other financial aid recipients. We were bound by our shared experiences as we navigated this new and privileged world. This was a pivotal period in my life that exposed me to possibilities that I'm certain I would have been oblivious to otherwise. For instance, in getting to know my classmates, parents, and donors to the school, I was exposed to high-powered executives, founders of businesses, leaders of the community. My interactions with them expanded my horizons, taught me about various career paths, helped me grow comfortable interacting with people from all walks of life. As I developed my ability to interact with people in these prestigious settings, I became confident that I belonged in that group. While I hadn't yet left the country, and quite frankly only seldomly had left the state of Texas, hearing firsthand about the family's travels and their interesting things they encountered beyond my local community was enlightening and motivating for me. My world had been opened up, my life had been set on a new course that ultimately led me to standing here with you today. My specific path, which began with Ray Johnson and a number of important acts of generosity, has instilled in me a sense of social responsibility that fuels me every day. I'm committed to bridging the opportunity divide for future generations and have built a career that is all more meaningful for me because it allows me to fulfill that purpose in my work each day and in my personal life using the resources my career has afforded me. Supporting McCombs through scholarships, funding endowments for McCombs Success Scholars and Subiendo, supporting organizations like Year Up and the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra, and helping friends and family. These are my greatest joys. I love getting to know young people who are just getting started, especially those who need a word of support, an introduction, or exposure to a world they didn't even know exists. Sometimes I see myself in them and know that each of them has much to contribute in the world. There's nothing that personally motivates me more than helping to close the opportunity divide and helping others move forward towards success. When it came time to choose my career, when I was sitting just where you are, I thought about the work I would enjoy, but I also thought about careers that would allow me to have impact both through the reach of the organizations I worked for and with, and through the resources I would attain personally to be able to deepen my impact further. When I was at graduate school at University of Texas, McCombs, I worked at Texas Teacher Retirement. During my time there, I got to know their chief investment officer, Jim Hilley. Jim was an important mentor to me. When I described to Jim what I wanted, to work with impactful institutions and asset owners with ambition to do big things in the world, he told me about Cambridge Associates, the organization where I've spent my last 22 years and that I'm now privileged to lead. I will be forever thankful to Jim for the introduction. The great thing about Cambridge Associates is that I get to do what I love, investing, while also working with great colleagues who share a sense of mission with me. We work with clients, great institutions, and great family office that are all in one way or another trying to close the opportunity divide and improve their community. My work is meaningful and impactful, and it's motivating and rewarding to me. So I invite you to think about impact, however you define it. While I trust you will be thoughtful what activities you'd like to fill your days with at work, I invite you to reflect even more deeply about impact you'd like to have on the world. Consider the good fortune that you've enjoyed and the ways that your story inspires you to help others. Or think about what feeds your soul. I invite you to let those things drive your career decisions as much, if not more, than anything else. If you have the courage to let that drive you, I promise you will be as energized and motivated as I am each day, and that you will find great success. The third thing I'd like to leave you with today is I think you should have as much ambition about taking care of your health and well-being as you do about taking care of your job. I'd like to share something fairly personal with you today. As I mentioned, as I was growing up, I played basketball. Although I was undersized, I played shooting guard. My nickname was Big Game Dave because I was a talented player, but also a very relaxed player, and I could visualize winning the game, which allowed me to deliver numerous game-winning shots over my career. I was never so happy as in my younger days, being part of a team, giving it our collective all, with enthusiasm and energy. The spirit seemed so natural in my youth. One of the great joys in my career has been working on and leading great teams as well, both investment teams and executive teams. But it took me a long time to find the same sense of joy in my career that I had as an athlete. For many years into my work, I found that like many of my friends and colleagues, I feared thinking big and having big goals because we constantly pictured the disappointment or embarrassment of failing to hit those big goals. I used to agonize over even small failures, and it was hard to think about what true success could be. The stress and anxiety in my jobs took a toll on my well-being as I couldn't sleep. I struggled to enjoy time with my friends and family like I should have. It was made even worse since I'm in a career where the greatest investors only get things right 65% of the time, meaning at best I was going to torment myself 35% of the time. That really is no way to live or thrive. I always loved exercise, but I didn't take care of my mind the way I did my body. Fortunately, I learned from many wise people that if I dedicated myself not just to my career, but also to my mental health, that it doesn't have to be that way. I solved this by dedicating consistent time and training to mindfulness and awareness. I began a daily yoga and meditation practice that is absolutely non-negotiable for me. It helps me to quiet my mind, to stay present in the current moment as I go through the day. This has allowed me to focus not so much on outcomes, but on process instead. And that has been the key to unlocking a sense of well-being and a peace of mind that is essential to my success and happiness. I've now come to view this mental self-care as executive training. Just like professional athletes train daily to maximize their performance, I need to train as an executive to maximize my impact. In a way, the phrase self-care can feel self-centered and easy to deprioritize after taking care of the long list of things others need from me. But in viewing this work as training, the task is reframed for me as something I do to maximize my impact for the team. I find that reframing helps me to be consistent in carving out the time as an investment in my career and my success. Those who know me know that I want to win badly, and I hate to lose even more. As I mentioned a short while ago, this competitive nature used to create a lot of anxiety for me, and I would obsess about outcomes. Would I win or would I lose? Since incorporating a consistent mindfulness practice into my daily routine, when I'm faced with significant challenges these days, I'm able to have a laser-like focus on the things I can control. The quality of my effort and my preparation. In my mindfulness practice, I envision how important events will go and have developed confidence that the majority of time, when I put in the preparation, I will achieve a positive outcome. Self-care, including yoga and meditation, has helped me to believe in myself so that I no longer have anxiety about how things will turn out. I'd like to share with you, once you no longer have anxiety about outcomes, a remarkable thing happens. You feel more comfortable taking risks and thinking big. For me, this has meant giving my entire self to having a significant impact on the world, which cannot happen without being bold. The fourth thing I'd leave you with is I'd like you to enter the arena. My fourth point is related to a Teddy Roosevelt quote. Teddy Roosevelt was the 26th president of the United States from 1901 to 1909. I apologize that this quote's going to feel sexist since it comes from 120 years ago. However, it very much resonates with me, and I find it a powerful force in driving me forward. It's not the critic who counts. This is the quote. It's not the critic who counts. It's not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. The arena will mean different things for each of you. For some, it will mean to build a company in a new industry. For others, it will mean taking on a new job with a lot of responsibility and ambitious goals. Still others will interpret it to mean learning new skills to adapt your impact in a changing world. What I know for certain is that you will all be confronted with numerous moments when you can choose whether you're in or you're out, whether you will listen to your fear and anxiety or lean into the unknown. For me, the most powerful example of this was when I was offered the CEO role at Cambridge Associates. My prior job leading a business line was easy and natural for me. I was successful at it without much friction in my life at all. To go in the arena as a CEO is a big thing. Being a CEO is not a popular position. The work's intense and hard, the travel is exhausting, and the days are very long. The weight of responsibility to our clients, our employees, and our shareholders is significant. However, my goal coming out of McCombs Graduate School was to operate on the biggest platform possible in order to have the biggest impact possible. This was my chance to do just that. I know I couldn't turn it down, and I've never regretted my decision. I emphatically encourage all of you to enthusiastically enter the arena in these moments. It's unbelievably energizing to be in the fray, and I'm confident that you will find great rewards doing so. We talk a lot at Cambridge Associates these days about ambition, how to inspire ambition in our colleagues and our clients, how to overcome fear of failure that gets in the way of human ambition, how to think big about the impact we can have with our platform. As you leave this wonderful school behind and head out into the world, I hope you will be ambitious. Ambitious about the life you want to lead, the commitment you make to your well-being, the impact you want to have on the world. I'm certain if you focus on these kinds of ambition, traditional career success will follow. Class of 2025, congratulations to each of you, your families, your mentors, your professors. Enjoy the rest of the weekend celebrating together and soaking in this special place and these special people. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. Hook 'em.
Thank you, David Drewley. Dr. Ty Henderson is the McCombs School Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs and a distinguished faculty member in the Department of Marketing. And Dean Henderson is here to present this year's degree candidates. Ty.
Today, you are in the arena. Today, we are joyful. Today, we are grateful. Today, we are excellent. Today, we are McCombs. Graduates, this is your time. It's go time. It's time to individually recognize the members of the graduating class of the McCombs School of Business for May 2025. Before I invite our graduates to the stage, I want to acknowledge the efforts of the faculty and staff members of the McCombs School's BBA program. They are the ones that greeted you at orientation when you first arrived on campus, helped you find classes and jobs, taught and tested you, and today they are attending this ceremony to honor your accomplishment as you prepare to depart. They are seated behind me on the stage, on the floor with the students, and all around the arena. I ask you to join me in offering them our thanks. Many students are wearing one or more cords and medallions on their robes. These are indicators of noticeable accomplishments. College scholars wear burnt orange cords and bronze medallions on white ribbons, are worn by distinguished college scholars. These symbols of academic achievement were awarded at a special ceremony last month. They reflect both the grade point average earned and the rigor of coursework undertaken by the students. Students wearing blue and green cords have added a global dimension to their business education by participating in McCombs BBA Study Abroad program. Students wearing burnt orange and silver cords are McCombs scholars. Students wearing white, gold, and blue cords are graduates of the McCombs Success Scholars program. Students wearing red and gold cords are graduates of the Canfield Business Honors program. Students wearing bronze medallions on burnt orange ribbons are graduates of the McCombs Leadership Program. Graduates will cross the stage by major. They will have their name announced and displayed up on the Moody Center screens. Please note that they're not required to be in alphabetical order so that they may sit with their friends. Graduates, we provided a photographer to take a picture of you with Dean Mills, so no selfies on the stage. Will the degree candidates please stand when directed by the McCombs staff member and proceed to their left with your name card toward the stage for recognition. After you cross the stage, please return to your seat and remain there until everyone has been recognized and the ceremony has concluded. The ushers will assist you. We are all here today to celebrate you and your accomplishments. This is the moment that you have worked for.
Now presenting graduates with a major in accounting.
Austin Michael Victorin. Connor Brendan Hayes. Caden Gage Dragu. Lucas Mateo Blake. Alistair Daniel Dewerson. John Adrian Martinez. Matthew Travis Durow. Adil Asif. Osvaldo Ventura. Luke P. Chartier. Robert Andrew Newman. Clemente Joshua Hernandez. Gabriel Aaron Perry. Samantha Wiedemann. Eileen Silva Lerma. Emily Perez. Daniel Sungchan Choi. Elian Cavazos. Caden Luke Parrish. Jared Beardsley. Kirsten Ann Karamihan. Alexia Danielle Villarreal. Richard Racklaw. Cameron Ryan Alshouse. Zane David Porch. Dylan Wolf. Cassidy Noel Williams. Luke Clark. Mackenzie Lane Martin. Grace Elizabeth Gordon. Sarah Ann Snoots. Andrew Michael Sherman. Connor McLendon. Zachary James Tesh. Erin Elizabeth Brooks. Ella Caroline Carter. Andrew Satish Goodwin. John Bernard Gwillem. Michael Oyoung. Charlie Velasquez. Leahy Orenstein. Eloisa Inamak D. Ryan Wall. Rotem Cohen. Samantha Hinojosa Rodriguez. Sia Ramchandran. Jenna Ruth Spocky. Catherine Camille Hudson. Sarah Michelle Duncan. Catherine Elizabeth West. Yung Fan Thuy Witten. Mandy Elaine Valles. Mercedes Briseda Melendez Hernandez. Jeffrey Heo Tong Tran. Susanna Nayeli Michaud. Larry Frank Garcia. Victoria Nairi Del Toro. Shivani Bejel Damu. Jasmine Amaya Mendoza. Roxana A. Mireles, Gabriela Nicole Kominek, Elisa Kate Villagracia Tuapin, Kelly Han Chow, Jared Paul Shimmick, Juliana Anahi Vasquez, Braulio Daniel Franuti, Edson Damian Retta, Lillian Lei Yan, Avery Mary Ellen Davis, Mara L. White, Madeline Lee Biro, Que Bella Rebolido, Joseph Anthony Enriquez, Anali Renee Santos, Juliana Nicole Edwards, Paige Alexandra Cagney, Jessica Lynn, Clayton Neil Kasurik, Connor Wallace Claypool, Max Nathan Rosenblum, Basil John Anaepakos, Ethan Bea, Catherine Elspeth Rhodes, Mia Ann Hallmark, Huang Ian Iris Nat No, Catherine Elizabeth Block, Rihanna Stangler, Blake Turner Dickey, Paul Claunch Brindley III, Maximiliano Reyes Banda, Abigail Marie Puebla, Matthew Howard Winters, Marcus Augustine Franzetti, Antonio Bernus, Emilio Xavier Castañeda, Caitlin Rose Said, Sydney Elizabeth Paul, Carrie Ann Elena Hosh, Nada Suching Ban, Kayla John No, Gunjong Kevin Kim, Ethan Edward Christopher, William Scott Reed, Yelena Mirabella Carrillo, Daniela L. Bauer, Caitlin Jordan Givian, Jocelyn Jo C. Chu, Win Tong, Mercedes Elena Puente, Lily Anna Nichols, Katie G. Moon, Sia Sharma, Marianne Liu, Sheila Pan, Aiden Kogan, Zachary Joseph Hopmeyer, Catherine Grace James, Brooke Reagan Benoit, Britton Grace McBurney, Kevin Liu, Evelyn Shannon Zhao, Anwitha Sai Epuri, Brianna Alexis Rodriguez, Diogene Chevelle Lockridge, Desiree Duarte Machigemba, Trinity Zane Elise Sherman, Aaliyah Demaya McFarlane, Jessica Alexandria Baez. Ana Gabriela Figueroa Lopez. Jonathan Kim. Brooke Amelia Davis. Armani Moyosola Olua Marshall Suleiman. Ariana Jada Joseph. Jorge Eduardo Gutierrez Valdez. Rodolfo Cruz. Liliana Reynero Castro. Myring Cuenca. Atsiri Dayanara Santa Maria. Lillian Ruth Griggs. Charlotte Lane Shively. Dylan Starr McNair. John Stafford Charbonnet. Humer H. Jower. Caitlin Michelle James. Candy Lizette Soldavilla. Hadley Glenn Adams. Luis Farias. Hayden Thomas Cloud. Eddie Ricardo Leon. Graham Daniel Scott. Vivek Manish Patel. Rohan Patel. Anirudh Karunakaran. Benjamin Yu. Mi Win. Caitlin Nicole Firasek.
Now presenting graduates with a major in business analytics. Isabella Osti Harrison. Nicole Sakaui. Joel Ohise Onime. Alejandro Garcia. Shlok Shah. Samai Das Mohapatra. Adish Kosalia Sundar. Antonio Jose Amador. David Wayne Quinn. Ethan Evans Hughes. Daniel Edward Villarreal. Georgia Marie Winfield. Thanvi Sai Kodali. Rishan N. Kasarla. Robert Dylan Galakowski Jr. Nicholas Martin DeLeon. Ethan Andrew Davenport. Helen Lee Wynn. Carol Young Lee. Ashwini Ganesh. Sia Bhavin Shah. Jada Marie Mosier. Star Lauren Obafemi Anadeli. Chao Lin. Yunyan Zhu. Lian Dung. Nikki Shah. Hunter Bao Tran. Yuri Lee. Kelsey Lynn Tran. Vanessa Chen. Katie Zhang. Alice Wei. David Sebastian Tobing. Derek Anthony Gomez. Andrea Helen Katramatis. Hassan Bin Arif. Eduardo Herrera, Alejandro Javier Frech, Diego de los Santos Costa, Samuel Caliscianes, Louis Cao, Kaylee Shu, Akriti Kamal, Akhil Chandra Katuri, Garrison Imani Boykin, Thomas Eugene Garner, Leslie Joanna Munoz, Leslie Espinosa, Neil Stephen Morris Rowe Jr. Now presenting graduates of the Canfield Business Honors Program.
Arushi Panjwani, Sruti Manamaya Morasupalli, Chinmayi Bodapati, Nihal Kiasa, Genesis Pieri, Savannah Paetzel, Natalie Lakshmi Sinha, Patrick Pham, Pranavrai Prithvirayu, Ashwin Morali, Jack Knotson, Delfino Garcia, Evan Alfonso Valls, Angela Wanjing Wong, Sri Ramanathan, Sarah Shireen Lalani, Ashley Yufei Liu, Elaine Yao, Yiwei Shen, Jessica Yang, Faliha Quadri, Rija Huang, Jake Matthew Taylor, Brady Robert Lamb, Quinn Stephen Hardesty, Connor Montgomery Benzick, Neva Ashlyn Galvan, Nicole Torres, Kennedy Michael Kibler, Anvita Makineni, Kennedy Lynn Kroom, Michelle Hain Lee, Ananya Nirjara Vegasna, Joshua Ho, Cameron Aiden Wee, Samir Kataria, Kutai Gokjan, Sruthi Raya Prolu, Nikhil Anantha, Jordan Elizabeth Wynn, Aulona Liena, Erin Lee McNabney, Emma Marie Costa, Kayla Ackley, Tina Wenqing Lee, Montgomery Benton McClendon II, Jacqueline Sophia Pillow, Sofia Paulina Alvarez, Gabriel Edmundo Acevedo, Diego Joaquin Sanchez Alatriste, Cameron Reed Hoover, Kyle Daniel Rucka, Nicholas Robert Emmett Whelan, Joyce Jia Yin Huang, Kaylani Addison, Caroline Kent Richburg, Bobby Dewey Tai, Ely Thomas Lamb, Oliver Louis Cristobal, Anushka Gail Lewis, Allison Helen Yu, Bailey Rachel Zhang, Elena Chiang Fu, Thomas Granin, McKinley Campbell, Laura Jessie Jones, Lily Good, Emily Zhang, Aaron Chun Fitzgerald, Rishi Niranjan, Michelle Han Win, Emily Guo, Jaden Riley Verico, Jason Peter Tannenbaum, Ali Hassan, Grant Edward Stapleton, Benjamin Martin Spangler, Dominic Genna Yonkiv, Anthony Grant Treistman, Sergio Alejandro Lopez Elizondo, Suraj Pratik Chaturvedi, Advaith Reddy Anakala, Som Ashvin Cheda, Akil Vinjamaram, Alex Foote, Tin Win, Archit Janarkar, William Robert Saxman, Rebecca Nahavandi, Nina Rachel Hamoy, Camden Riley Thomas, Sofia Isabel Nino, Ria N. Manohar, Chang Si Gang, Benny Wong, Kenachukwu Okoye, Kritika Ilango, Itzel Guadalupe de Leon, Ariana Xiaoyu Zhao, Isabel Marcus, Siddharth Sinha, Diego Robbins, Tyler Kirch, Siddharth Kailash Sabnani, Sarvesh Subramanian, Samuel Yuan, Edith Parikh, Gilberto Orozco, Leonardo Flores Villarreal, Dwayne Charles Goggins Jr., Carly Christine Jang, Tej Devender Reddy, Anuj Nigam, Anna Lee, Umangi Singh, Sharan Sriram, Sarya Chokar, Arvind Rathnam, Pranav Meredi, Devan Gandhi Patel, Manoj Singareddy, William G. Fan, Tanya Dingra, Isha Rajiv Patel, Sneha Mittal, Arushi Gupta, Risha Sur, Nandika Shreya Tyagi, Dia Jain, Anavi Nayak, Navya Rao, Catherine Yu, Minerva Sharma, Sai Abhijit Pabisetti, Shishir Chandra Nambi, Faiza Nordin Dolasania, Auj Momin, Sweni Akbar Ali Moradia, Amar Thayani, Olivia Corderi Shoemaker, Marley Renata Gomez Olivas, Faith Elizabeth Fulbright, Bryden Abraham, Reese Thomas Matthew, Rakib Momin, Maxwell Ming Wu, Shashank Koda, Logan Joseph Vaz.
Now presenting graduates with a major in finance. Haley Lynn Wynn. Jackson Prescott Allred. Andrew Silman Holland. Ryan Middleton Daly. Luke LaForge Simonich. Andrew L. Askew. Winston Allen Smith.
Jonathan Lane Griffith,
Ethan Joshua Yu. Lola Grace Rangel. Ava Madison Tan Rodriguez. Claire Cantrell. Evelyn Guerrero Sanchez. Cade Anthony Novak. Noah James Hall. Christian Frederick Irgel. Luis Manuel Osorio. Jake David Butler. Preston Reese Lynn. Evan Samuel DeLone. Liam Alexander Walker. Preston Kyle Ramsey. Sebastian Palma. Ava Grace Schmidt. Christian Stone Alarcon. Kushi Desai. Andrew Christopher Liu. Allura Arden Monroe. Axela Ivana Eras. Leslie Elizabeth Gonzalez. Guerrero Oro Soto. Alejandra Valles. Fanny Ruby Cardona Benitez. Ishan Mehta. Shoban Mohanty. Rex Robbins. Michael Roa Jr. Kevin Joseph Bloom. William Edmund Gallagher. Kelsey Nigan. Bronwyn Bates. Matthew Din. Janie Michelle Van Zant. Ruby Lee Hawkins. Tanya Swanee. Sasha Villalone. Sulet Vieda. Tuk Ki Tong Kennedy Nguyen. Janice Huyen Nguyen. Pranav Karthikeyan Pradeep. Nitisha Pokula. Antara Chatterjee. Joey Lee. Isabel Najib Webby, Najib El Hayek, Emma Buchek, Ngot Min Tring, Lauren Scott, Mandy Wang, Sunny Wang, Ojesvi Mera, Madison Elizabeth DeMoro, Grace Ann Marie Becker, Emma Sue James, Jake Joseph Burke, Colin Joseph Friedian, Heng Tsai, Mika Freund, Annabella Serena Smith, Georgia Kate Leonard, Addison Blair Hughes, Callahan Elise Ray, Ella Bryce Nasdell, Andres Thomas, Abhinav Rao Talri, Pranav Chelat, Agna Prakash Kumar Patel, Sophia Lauren Rodriguez, Julie Wynn, Brisa Sabine Mejia, Shuli Batra, Zara Inam, Annika A. Chokovatia, Akarshita Raj, Tanisha Graywall, Harshit Gundapaneni, Saket Muktapuram, Tarun Vijayaraghavan, Damian Krukil, Christopher Alexander Martinez, Mr. Daniel Oluwadamilola Oduba, Elizabeth Egosasere Nehikare, Danusri Navanithan, Misla Shrestha, Lauren Stanfield, Panav Ladha, Somyanil Deb Chowdhury, Mehar Poredi, Zarmin Shah, Max Bradley Beard, Rahul Murli Rupani, Brennan David Hart, Sahas Chinny, Noah Kim, Richard Yang, Reese Davies Clausen, Mateo Miguel Taborda, Om Rahul Desai, Raghav Rao, Mohammed Ahmad Farhood, Ahmed Sami Hamid, Siddharth Reddy, Alexander Gabriel Demond, Ellison Lee, Carter Chaffin White, Divya Inampudi, Nikila Kuri, Adit Goyal, Manu Narayan Ramineni, Pratham Rathi, Lakshmanish Parikh, Tejas Bansal, Siddharth Yagari, Shashank Kashyap, James Chong, Natalie T. Wynn, Sohana Vipul Parikh, Sophia Zhao, Nikki Melanie Goldberg, Lily Josephine Anderson, Ava Narges Jafari. Olivia Rose Flaming. Catherine Hope Lane. Jack Richards Hernandez. Wesley Elliott Sage. Trenton Jeffrey Balcom. Andrew Poole. Alina Ajani. John William Hubert. Jack Hudson Koonsman. Mingrui Chien. Jack Logan Marcus. Colton Jeremy Smith. Cameron S. Day. Gabriel Christopher Hernandez. Zane Omer. Philip Jameson J. Hoon So. Nicholas Julien. Mitchell Dennis Greenberg. Summer Milan Swiris. Amaya Sankaran. Joanna Michelle Gonzalez. Mila Duran. Annabelle Ashby Burks. Ami Patolia. Sophia Patrice Yegi. Lucy Jane Caudill. William Everett Moak. Bryce Alexander Mountain. Roman Marius Peterson. Humberto Zamorano Bayart. Nicholas Aidan Bryant. Alexa Ann Merritt. Ava Charlotte Fackler. Paul Wise Pullen. Madeline Evans Christ. Lauren Elizabeth Gill. Isaac Reed Lenner. Hayden Mayer Goodhart. Noah Kyle Sametz. Ryan Drew Wolfberg. Thomas Carter Finch Jr. Rex Corey. Keegan Wallace Dollarhide. Lauren Ann Spheris. Carson Scott Stamper. Trey Parisi. Sean Baker O'Neill. Miller Lujan. Lillian Gray Milhorn. Derek Wang. Douglas Pham. Mark Ray Mireles. Meghna Srinivas. Elena Miriam Felice. Valeria Noguera. Audrey Miriam Granmaye. Zeynep Deliormanle. Allison Paola De Luca Ozuna. Ronald Elliott Weaver. Lisna Samir Presla. Ayan Shokat Prasla. Manny Escalante. Zahara Salman. Scott Ryan Garson. Nathan Anthony Gonzalez. Christian MacArthur Lane. Raja Rao Vena. Carlos Daniel Espinosa Blunda. Zarek Merchant. Evie T. Cow. Trace Garrett Hankins. Prisha Krunal Dalal. Manasa Chandra. Brandon Austin Brooks. Dylan Huang Luo. Julia Lin. Shruti Vamadising, Ishan Singhal, Shubham Katarpal, Uday Renu, Jackson Ryan Nolan, Faiz Prasla, Faiz Rahimtullah Maknojia, Shruti Rajamani, Ria Singh, Gavin Jonathan Malden, Jacob Gregor Tegmeyer, Christopher Alexander, Michelle Donna Marshalek, Rufaida Zaman, Tamila Radhakrishnan, Gregory Hubert Molina, Kara Elise Kelly, Eden Sophia Williamson, V. Cow, Hong V. Lei, Jacob Braden Maynard, Jack Allen Borgeson, Caitlin Alexandra Tankersley, Nicholas Damon Zinsmeyer, Jack Allen Gary, Barrett Ott, Daniel Alexander Meneses, Alec Brandon Grossman, Jackson Alexander Lane, Ahan Shah, Catherine Ann Odama, Megan Maria Wolf, Nithya Prakash, Vivian Tan V. Win, Guadalupe Tapia, Destiny Calderon, Arturo Gabriel Fuentes, Tae-hee Kim, Charles Miele, Rayan Jokio, Reina Duan, Sanya Mazumdar, Jonathan De La Barra Abreu, Jessica Chen, Asritha Katakam, Sachi Gulati, Elisa Giselle Flores, Zoe Marie Navy, Kylie Roberts, Aiden Thomas McNamara, Brendan Michael Miles, Mario Enrique Montero Ruberu, Jose Miguel Becerra, Luke Charles Hauff, Harrison David Sager, Hershey Liss, Jose Javier Zamora, Martin Cesar Salinas, Caitlin Rose Rojas, Carlos Eduardo Ayon, Soham Sharma, Aditya Venkata Dronam Raju, Dylan Rubin, William Mazo Lawrence, Aiden Eliason, Maximilian Lucky, Gia Parag Jonsa, Allison Jillian Zhang, Farah Nishat, Hedi Zhang, Jeremy Zongyi Chen, Kevin Tang, Santos Jesus Morales, Arman Motahar, Nevin Guerra, Joshua Anthony Thomas, Antonio Damian Aldape, Gabriela Megan Olguen, Isabel Kimia Azmude, Hannah Haddad-Nejad, Sarah Wang Jiang, Samuel Wang Jiang, Gabriel Ochoa, Aaron Adler, Jeremy Zarnagin, Jacob Scott Lafort, Luke Douglas Millis, Andrew Scott Herlong, Antonio Daniel Garcia, Grant Davis Morgan, Cody Lee Coibian, Jose Agustin Rubio Marquez, Wyatt Warren Westerhyde, Jack William Garrison, Lucas Armstrong Henry, Benton Russell Koch, Konar Cole Canali, Logan J. Madsen, Varun Reddy Chowdhury, Donovan Shekhtar, Emilia Alazraki Reynez, Abian Wahed, Jacob Robert Lavarini, Theophilus Jaron Johnson, Heinrich Gonzalez, Chase Hayden Jankowski, Nicholas Jim, Yul Kim, Rishikesh Reddy Mandala, Donnie Dang Ho, Jacob Ryan Malone, Jordan Taylor McAllister, Mariana Nastapina, Rebecca Osuna, Patricio Gonzalez, Carlo Rizzoli, Noah Leo Sass, Miranda Sofia Cepeda, Mariana Tamez, Emiliano Loya, Ari Azriel Holzman, Sergio Humberto Puig, Otega Ndidi Modupe Amudo, Jackson L. Graves, Sahas Kirti Chanam, Benjamin Isaac Frost, Russell Lewis Rosenthal, Sam Wyatt Lubcher, Alexander Morris Feinstein, Evan Garrett Kupferberg, Brent Daniel Layden, James Klein, David Salomon Batievsky, Davis Guto, Oliver Cole Levy, Teo B. Steinberg, Gabe Freeman, Ali Vidani, Arnav Mayana, Manas Varma Nandimandalam, Rohan Parikh, Bohui Hiroki Jang, Andreas Cheng, Mariana Cisneros, Aditya Meghanatha, Vivek Reddy, Varun Potapalli, Brendan Maxwell Reese, Rohan Kota, Daniel Butanda, Osea Daniela Rieta Laureano, Sergi E. Reynoso, Hasnain Y. Rangwala, Rahul Kanam, Dhruv Vishwanath, Nicolas Montemayor, Adalberto Santos, Carolyn Grace Watts, Emma Schugert, Megan Murphy Smith, Peyton Wright Howard, Elizabeth Lane Kelly, Crawford Mulligan, William Ellingidbo, Michael Hamilton, Jorge Leva, Hunt McDermott Tower, William Stanley Stokes 5, Connor Boyd Heath, William Grant Brackmeyer, Ann Sanford Daly, Dallas Camille Clement, Laura Carolyn Fulton, Kate E. Ewens, Eleanor Catherine Hutchison, Molly Richards, Electra Sue Hamill, Worthy DeArmond Wiles IV, William Duke Elliott, Thomas Avery Collins, Charlie Matthew Clements, Lucas Walter Annette, Luke Hilliard Charpentier, Keller Horlock, Harrison Robert Jones, William Stewart Watson, Sarah Hassan, Viet Phung Duc Tran, Haley Michaela Jones, Jessica Chen, Anna Viacana, now presenting graduates with a major in international business.
Giselle Nieto Mora,
Now presenting graduates with a major in international business.
Jennifer Zhao Zach,
Now presenting graduates with a major in international business.
Quinn Hudson Roselius,
Now presenting graduates with a major in international business.
Alyssa Natalia Ibarra, Alyssa Michelle Nickerson, Sheffer Zamach, Sean Ronan Taladua Sanchez, Hannah Janka, Sabrina Ann Metzger, Valeria Plaza, Jay Suresh, Kelly Liu, Marilia Gabriel de Melo Silva, Leslie Garcia Flores, Sierra Jacqueline White, Cassandra Jocelyn Jimenez, Milka Sarai Reyes, Fanny Esquivias, Delaney Brunker, Isha Patel, Amanda Hong Fan, Omar Verona, Annabella Magdalena Ninamilla, Jillian Catherine Romero.
Now presenting graduates with a major in Management Information Systems.
Rajveer Singh Kindra, Parga Vedula, Catherine S. Gonzalez Guerrero, Haley Wynn, Allison Hannah Fine, Sophie Isabel Rossick, Olivia Michelle McMurray, Tiffany Chow, Lauren Ellie, Stephanie Page Antonio, Amanda Mi-Jin Din, Cecilia Tao Van Vu, Pedro Anthony de la Fuente Jr., Shaheen Fato, Jaydeep Gola, Jesse Vivek Ilangoraya,
Anish Rudra,
Anusha Mittal, Khushi Shah, Ty Robert Struve, Ariel Marie Neal, Kathy Ding, Dakota Driscoll, Sahil Hamid, Preetham Amartya Vankyalapati, Zachary Vin Tran, Shafali Joshi, Jewel Estrada Bautista, Meenakshi Gujarlapudi, Angel Nicole Daughtry, Tammy Dang, Ronak Parag Shah, Abhigyan Pandya, Mugdha Konda, Alifia Aziz Ali, Alyssa Bautista Bermudez, Ashika Krishnan, Gustavo Kenji Chavez, Cole Michael Carlisle, Matthew June Kim, Isaac Dennis Cleaver, Paloma Lisette Medrano, Asia Sangalang, Haifeng Lin, Antonio Valentin Meza, Eric Demore, Henshi Zhang, Yulung Stephen Mo, Anika Srivastava, Celia Rose Beatty, Mary Leah Allen, Audrey Apira Ayat, Ethan Henry Gonzalez, Christian Renee Rojas, Alyan Murad Tharwani, Shariar Adnan, Al Hassan Lamin, Avi Mehta, Angel Mary John, Harshita Ganipineni, Ethan Jacob Harris, Pranav Manoj Nair, Harshini Ramesh, Kinza Barrister, Alyssa Samantha Vidalis, Natalie Fabiola Martinez, Jenny Lee Doan, Carson Cade Hammock, Luke Alexander Morgan, Mark Johannes Hatampa, Allison Wong, Reagan Wynn, Arthi Shah, Minal Sunil, Aditi Pulukuru, Andrew Chen, Alex Christian Fiacco, Quinlan David O'Connell, Adam Toe, Himadri Nath, Niladri Knott, Lillian Francis Rembert, Sonali Anand Reddy, Shreya Beldona, Ashrita Gudavali, Samhitha Thaluru, Michelle Ivy Bakun, Manos V. Neti, Anjali Panchal, Shreya Chintala, Pramiti Gupta, Samanvi Velagapudi, Rachel Wynn, Nadia Puya, Fernando Rodriguez, Stephanie Kang, Nhi Le, Helen Zhang, Christina Morales Ayala, Hannah Adele Holliday, Benjamin Yeli, Preston Lee Cook, Nathan Spencer, Ryan Jeanette, Andrew William Mathis, Rodrigo Ramirez, Madeleine Soms Stower, Cesar Augusto Monagas Romero, Manuel Ayala, Melanie Vasquez, Nicolas Rene Anleo del Rio, Ori Zach, Suhas Rachavetti, Vinny Vemulapalli, Ranak Bansal, Eshan Daval Vyas, Charles Blake Rosenblum, Jacob Treme Seinfeld, Etai Geller, Abigail Onyinyechi Ujuji, Stephanie Josephine Ho, Christella Ivan Bui, Ria Vastrad, Stacy Wong, Shakira Nguyen, Jason Xiao Yang, and to Carissa Bowie, Warren Jason Browning, Grayson Roy Harris, Garrett Alexander Mixon, Luke Hartfield, Kushal Diora, Tanish Gaddy, Drudy Hirain Patel, Dat Lee, Carla Stambaugh, Sophia Ma, Shira Wang, Hushi Bansal, Ethan Thomas Michael, Abdullah Kamran Jawra, Ayan Khalid Mahmood, Numer Khalik Ahmed, Suhaib Rashid, Mohammed Abdul Samad Oza, Iman Wasai, Jenna Kim, Maxwell James Merrill, Oscar Jose Lopez, Jean Jacob Brigido, Mario Torres, Esai Elias Soto,
Carolina Grace Carizales. Saul Ramirez Rojo.
Eric Don Wynn, Ayushi Dumka, Sophie Setapan, An Triam Dang, Christopher James Gale, Charles Wang, Judd Jason Jenkins II, Nikula Popuri, Aman Nasruddin Ali, Jenna Lakani, Shreya Bodhanapu, Shikha P. Patel, Angel Tung, Grace Joy Dang, Jaden Jun Yi, Alan Tang, Eric Huyn Win, Kirsten Cheyang Shin, Sydney Key, Naisha Godipati, Aryan Chintala, Hannah Jong, Azim Panjwani, Alicia Ajit Merchant, Ishika Bhatia, Aksa Rayas Dolasania, Numer Salim Punjwani, Sana Shakat Wadwani, Ira Shakur Jamal, Ilian Shokatali Bardai, Ira Momin, Nicholas Gimere, Fez Charania, Viren Mitesh Govin, Mariana Sofia Alvarez, Celeste Resendiz Torres, Serena Gaderi, Jordan Jamal Burks, Kaylin Azri Commander, Mohit Devendra Talwalkar, Danny Angie Xie, Christine A. Shu, Ria M. Syriac, Ellie Stefan, Isabella Esquivel, Nicholas George Mitri,
Now presenting graduates with a major in marketing. Vera P. Wiggle. Natalia Elizabeth Zuniga. Nishika Ria Dutla. Pavitra Kumar. Neha Bidnerkar, Margaret Ellenwood Castor, Sofia Isabella Puccini, Maru Lasala, Eric Gabriel Espinal, Arshan Mehta, Eric Sandoval, Christy Kanabi,
Nusaiba Junaina Siddiqui,
Kaya Jane, Daniel Eduardo Rojas, Grecia Estefania Angeles, Maydalid Vasquez Moctezuma, Mary Carmen Hernandez Ugarte, Jasmine Arieta Maraz, Sirat Zainab Ali, Brooke Kathleen Butler, Caitlin Elizabeth Sell, Angel Santiago Miramontes, Brett Ashley Hyman, Lauren Aline Logan, Christine Lauren Benavides, Jasmine Sia Gokinko, Gloria Hayong Kim, Leah Isabel Rodriguez, Lana Mi Win, Shivani Shankar Chidambaram, Will Shashikant Patel, Emma Salvador Rocco, Colleen Itzel Martinez, Samuel Joseph Xavier, Riley Lynn Shaw, Bailey Brandon, Ava Joey Gordon, Elena Aria, Joshua Xavier Barnal, Cadence Thrailkill, Ian Ryan Shutt, Layla Jade Ontivaros, Addison Renee Reed, Anayi Raboyar Guerrero, Ashley Elizabeth Nunez, Bella Risa Banda, Daniela Ramirez, Olivia Francis Source, Julia Levenhagen, Emily Alejandra Cabello, Kanak Kapoor,
Alyssa Natalia Ibarra, Chloe Marie Jaramillo, Alyssa Michelle Nickerson,
Dylan Kofer, Garima Talwar, Arifa Momin, Sydney Rebecca, Elizabeth Dwyer, Anya Gouda, Nidhi Reddy Kata, Iman Baraso, Marshall Ellis Landwehr, Abigail Grace Harrison, Isabella Jimenez, Aiden James Coriar, Wendy Elizabeth Wood, John Henry Robinson, Camille Amber Marie Joseph Gerardo Monteau, Aislinn Blair Lyman, Lauren Snyder, Lauren Kate Garces, Sofia Moreno, Sophie Burns. Colin Joseph Katz. Kevin Junbo Huang. Alec Michael Perez. Faith Allison Bannock. Joaquin Guajardo. Alyssa Gonzalez. Cassandra Palacios. Rachel Marie Connolly. Valeria Jimenez. Sarah Perez Curry. Jocelyn Marilee Lozano. Carlos Steven Ruano. Ruben Ramirez. Christina G. Lynn Guillermo. Haley Ann Shu. Brooke Quinn Mai No Fan. Dayanara Tavera. Emma Zoronich. Ryan Matthew Berman. Michael Trevor Edelman. Maya Epstein. Dylan Sophie Meyer. Taikino Markel Davis. Barrington Wambua Miles. Lindsay Rose Zuvich. Savannah Catherine Stark. William James Gilroy. Luke Samuel Centeni. Zoe Carageorge. Sydney Rose Wallace. Alina Adasa Dickens. Brianna Ashley Simone Date. Kelsey Kemunto Nyandusi. Hope Ali Nightway. Sophia Zandonaji Amstalden. Ana Garau. Yahir Soto. Susan Alexia Gallardo. Cameron Malik Benson. Leandra Maria Love. Now presenting graduates from the Rosenthal Department of Management. Scott Nicholas Cole Hudson. Preston Thomas Clark. Zach Silver. Shloak Duta. Griffin Emlyn Lewis. Matthew Reagan Myers. Marcella Annalisa Hilmy. Jacqueline Arieta Miraz. Mariana Arevalo. Vansi Victoria Mauk. Amod Daherker. Matthew H. Kovich. Colton Laramie Clements. Sofia Ruiz Caetano da Silva. Caleb Joel Martinez. Lily Vu An Nguyen. Lauren Ariana Liao. Kenab Haftosh Desai. Reese Weston Fearman. Anya Nakvi. Caitlin Nicole Garcia Gutierrez. Nuya Michelle Probst. Jonathan David Miller. Mario Guerra. Amaris Gregory Fields. Yota Hino. J. Ryan Medina. Nathan Robert Quarterman. Olivia Grace Bray. Marilla Annette King. Luke Buckler Allen. Juan Antonio Carbonell. Genesis Yamaleth Jimenez. Honoree K. Shah. Amrita Shekhar Dongre. Catherine Grace Dybul. Sarah Abigail Cook. Sahar Panjwani. Kennedy Jalen Rudd. Christian Piedra. Andrea Valentina Bolivar. Erin Lee Hicks. Sarah Lillian Lopez Touche. Zoe Telia Newdorfer. Jorge Andres Sandoval. Bix Lawrence Bradley. Constanza Garcia. Kyra Z. Daruna. Agha Agazeda. Caitlin Mercado. Bella Sofia Martinez. Keandria Nicole Miller. Kirsten Lorraine Maps. Thomas Thompson. Now presenting graduates with a major in supply chain management.
Elian Pedro Torres. Jennifer Ten Tao Fan. Noah Guillermo Posada. Jose Nicolas Navarro. Alondra Cecilia Parales. Ileana Giselle Sustaita Zuniga. Catherine Kim Onfo. Solomon Lee Washington. Braden Jeffrey Hassel. Ali Grace Armstrong. Ryan Willis. Callie Grace Carlisle. Carlina Franco. Anthony Langston Jeremiah Harris. Nabil Alexander Kabani. Brendan Liu. John Cooper Callis. Catlin Wynn. Gabriela Rosa Rodriguez. Aditi Villakaranam. Abani Gabriela Zuniga. Jade Nicole Stewart. Mallory Ellen Marquez. Madison Cara Alanis.
Now presenting graduates with a major in science and technology management.
Andrew Powell Posey.
Nuhaid Bai, Management Information Systems. Samuel Yantis, Accounting.
Let's again recognize each of our highly rated majors and our amazing students. Accounting majors, rise and be recognized. Business analytics majors, rise and be recognized. Canfield business honors majors, rise and be recognized. Finance majors, rise and be recognized. International business majors, rise and be recognized. Management information systems majors, rise and be recognized. Marketing, rise and be recognized. Rosenthal, Department of Management, rise and be recognized. Supply chain management, rise and be recognized. Science and technology management, rise and be recognized. Graduates, please stand and remain standing. Dean Mills, faculty, staff, families, and friends, I present the 2025 BBA graduates of the McCombs School of Business at the University of Texas at Austin. And as a signal of your new status as a proud McCombs BBA graduate and Longhorn, please turn your tassel from right to left. From Harlingen to Hereford, from Longview to Lajitas, from Cy-Fair, Bel Air, Crockett, and Coronado, east and west, north and south, from all over the state and beyond, you came to the University of Texas at Austin. You earned your degree. You made it here. Now, go out and change the world. Congratulations, Dean Mills, the room is yours.
To say that at the university commencement on Saturday night, there is an opportunity for the McCombs students to out-cheer the rest of the stadium, and I'm counting on you. So let us recognize together those who have supported you throughout these years. And I would ask now that the families and friends of our graduates please also stand so that we can celebrate you. Graduates, I'm confident in your ability to change the world. You are part of a century-long legacy of change makers, and we know that as alumni, you will continue to blaze a trail for the McCombs School of Business. Our alumni have a proud tradition of connecting back to McCombs, and there are a lot of ways to do this. You can join McCombs Connect, attend alumni events, mentor and hire next year's graduates, accept a committee placement, serve on one of our boards, stay in touch with the Texas X's and the McCombs Alumni Network. And so you're part of a community for life. This is just the start of your lifelong journey with us. This summer, we hope you'll join summer celebrations with your new alumni friends. in the Bay Area, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, New York, Austin, and more. And there should be a QR code that you could all scan right now and find out how to be part of the party this summer. Some final logistics as we end. Family and friends, please stay seated because the faculty will leave and then we will lead the graduates off the floor. You can meet them outside on Dell Plaza where you entered. And the students were sent off, or will be, with a sweet treat from Tiff's Treats. Thank you, yeah. Thank you. I think it's a coupon or a gift card. It might not be a real cookie today. Thank you to Tiff's Treats founders, Leo Chin, our graduate, 3 degrees, and Tiff's co-founder, his wife, a UT alumna, Tiffany Taylor. So, congratulations on your accomplishments, best of luck on your future endeavors, and hook 'em horns.
Attention parents and guests, please remain seated while the graduates exit the arena. Attention families and guests, please remain seated while